Peter, Simon Peter. Simon Peter, often simply called Peter, is one of the most prominent figures in the New Testament and is considered by many as the de facto leader of the apostles. Originally a fisherman, Peter's life took a dramatic turn when Jesus called him to be a fisher of men. His journey from a simple fisherman to the foundation of the early church is a story of faith, failure, and redemption, which resonates deeply with Christians. Peter is known for his bold personality and his impulsive actions, such as walking on water at Jesus' command, and then sinking when he doubted. Peter's denial of Jesus thrice before the rooster crowed is a poignant story of human frailty. However, after the resurrection of Jesus, Peter became a pillar of strength for the early church. He preached boldly, performed miracles, and eventually, according to Christian tradition, was martyred in Rome, insisting on being crucified upside down as he felt unworthy to die in the same manner as Jesus. Traditionally regarded as the first pope by the Roman Catholic Church, Peter's leadership and his writings, such as the first and second epistles of Peter, have had a lasting impact on Christianity, emphasizing faith, perseverance, and the importance of spiritual growth. Paul, Saul of Tarsus. Paul, originally known as Saul of Tarsus, is a towering figure in Christianity, particularly notable for his role in spreading the gospel to the Gentile, non-Jewish world. His life is a profound narrative of transformation and dedication. Initially, Paul was a zealous Pharisee who persecuted Christians, believing he was defending the traditions of his ancestors. However, his dramatic conversion on the road to Damascus, where he was struck blind and had a vision of Jesus, changed the course of his life and, indeed, the history of Christianity. Paul's epistles, or letters to early Christian communities, form a substantial part of the New Testament and lay the groundwork for much of Christian theology. His writings address complex doctrines such as justification by faith, the role of Christ in salvation, and the unity of Jewish and Gentile followers under the New Covenant. Paul's missionary journeys across Asia Minor, Greece, and Rome, as described in the Acts of the Apostles, show his commitment to spreading the message of Jesus far and wide. Despite facing immense hardships like imprisonment, beatings, and eventual martyrdom, Paul's intellectual rigor and fervent faith helped establish a theological foundation for future Christian thought and organizational structure. His life and work exemplify the transformative power of faith and the importance of spreading a spiritual message across cultural boundaries.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
John. John the Apostle is a central figure in the New Testament and is traditionally believed to be the author of the Gospel of John, 3 epistles, and the Revelation. Known as the beloved disciple, John's writings are unique in their theological depth, focusing on the divinity of Christ and the profound nature of God's love. The Gospel of John differs significantly from the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, with its more reflective and philosophical tone. It opens with a majestic prologue presenting Jesus as the Word, Logos, made flesh, who existed from the beginning with God, emphasizing the incarnation and the revelation of God through Jesus. John's Gospel contains several detailed personal interactions, such as the conversation with the Samaritan woman at the well and the raising of Lazarus, which underscore Jesus' mission and divinity. The 3 epistles attributed to John echo themes of love, truth, and fellowship, urging believers to live in the light of God's truth and to love one another, reflecting the true nature of God. The Book of Revelation, a prophetic work filled with vivid imagery and symbolism, offers hope and encouragement to Christians facing persecution, emphasizing the ultimate triumph of God. John's contributions to the New Testament are invaluable, providing deep insights into the character of Jesus and the nature of God, which continue to influence Christian thought and doctrine today. James the Greater. James the Greater, son of Zebedee and brother of John, is one of the first disciples Jesus called to follow him. His designation as the Greater serves to distinguish him from James the Less, another of the 12 apostles. James' close relationship with Jesus is evidenced by his presence at significant events, such as the Transfiguration and the agony in the Garden of Gethsemane. James is often depicted as a figure of considerable zeal and passion, traits that Jesus acknowledged when he nicknamed James and his brother John Boanerges, meaning sons of thunder. This fervor is reflective of his deep commitment to Christ's mission, even though it often meant facing great opposition and hardship. James's ministry primarily unfolded in Jerusalem and Judea, where he was among the first apostles to be martyred for his faith. According to the Acts of the Apostles, Herod Agrippa had James executed by the sword around 44 AD, making him the first of the apostles to become a martyr. This early death underscores the dangerous and countercultural nature of apostolic ministry in the first century. James's legacy is significant in the Christian tradition, particularly in Spain, where he is revered as the patron saint. The Camino de Santiago, the Way of St. James, a major pilgrimage route, is dedicated to his memory, symbolizing his enduring influence on Christian spirituality and devotion. Andrew. Andrew, the brother of Simon Peter, is another of the original apostles called by Jesus. Before following Jesus, Andrew was a disciple of John the Baptist, and it was through John's proclamation that Jesus was the Lamb of God that Andrew was drawn to Christ. He is traditionally known for being the first of the disciples to follow Jesus, earning him the title protokleidos, or first called. Andrew's role is characterized by his acts of introducing others to Jesus. The Gospel of John recounts how Andrew brought his brother Simon to Jesus, effectively setting the stage for Peter's future prominence in the Christian community. This act highlights Andrew's insight and his recognition of Jesus' messianic identity early on. Although the Gospels provide fewer details about Andrew compared to Peter or John, his presence in critical moments, such as the feeding of the 5,000 where he mentions the boy with loaves and fishes, illustrates his active participation in Jesus' ministry. Post-biblical traditions hold that Andrew preached the gospel in various regions around the Black Sea and through what is now Greece and Turkey. He is venerated as the patron saint of several countries, including Scotland and Russia. According to tradition, Andrew was martyred on an X-shaped cross, which has come to be known as St. Andrew's Cross, reflecting his own crucifixion. Andrew's life and ministry exemplify the role of an apostle, as both a witness to Jesus' life and a missionary spreading the transformative message of the gospel. Thomas. Thomas the Apostle, often dubbed Doubting Thomas, is famously known for his skepticism about Jesus' resurrection. His doubt is not just a moment of weakness, but rather highlights a profound aspect of human nature, the struggle between doubt and faith. Thomas first appears in the Gospel of John, where he makes a significant statement of loyalty. When Jesus decides to go to Judea, knowing the dangers that await, it is Thomas who bravely says to the other disciples, "Let us also go, that we may die with him." This shows Thomas's deep commitment and courage, traits that are sometimes overshadowed by his later doubt. The most telling episode, however, occurs after Jesus' resurrection. Thomas refuses to believe that Jesus has risen unless he can see and touch Jesus' wounds. This moment is crucial. When Jesus appears again and invites Thomas to touch his wounds, Thomas responds with one of the most profound declarations of faith in the New Testament, "My Lord and my God." This confession is a pivotal moment, as it not only resolves his doubts but also affirms Jesus' divinity, in one of the clearest terms used by any of the disciples. Thomas's story resonates with many because it encapsulates the journey from doubt to faith. Tradition holds that Thomas traveled to India, spreading the Christian message, where he eventually was martyred. His legacy, particularly in India, is marked by the ancient Christian communities that claim him as their founder, reflecting his lasting impact as an apostle. James the Less. James the Less, often identified as James, son of Alphaeus, is one of the lesser-known apostles mentioned in the New Testament. The epithet the Less may refer to his younger age or lesser stature compared to James the Greater. Despite the brevity of detail about his life in the Bible, his presence among the 12 apostles underscores his importance in the early Christian community. James the Less is considered a figure of steadfastness and loyalty, embodying the quiet strength that played a crucial role in the foundational period of the Church. Little is known about his activities post-resurrection, but tradition holds that he remained mostly in Jerusalem and was involved in the early church there. His life reminds us that not all influential figures are well known or in the forefront. Some contribute significantly from behind the scenes. James the Less is venerated in various Christian traditions, and his story encourages faithfulness and dedication in the service of one's beliefs, regardless of the recognition or fame that might come with it. Philip. Philip the Apostle is prominently featured in the Gospel of John, where his role is often that of a questioner or an intermediary, helping others to come to Jesus. Not to be confused with Philip the Evangelist from the Acts of the Apostles, Philip the Apostle was one of the first followers of Jesus, called directly by Jesus himself. Philip demonstrates a practical mindset. He assesses situations logically, as seen when Jesus tests him about feeding the 5,000 people. Philip calculates the cost of the food required, illustrating his concern with the practicalities of the miracle rather than the miracle itself. This characteristic makes him relatable to many who struggle with faith when faced with the seemingly impossible. Additionally, Philip plays a crucial role in the spread of the gospel to non-Jewish individuals. His interaction with the Ethiopian eunuch in Acts highlights his openness and obedience to the Holy Spirit's guidance to reach out beyond traditional Jewish boundaries. This story not only marks a significant step in the early Christian mission to Gentiles, but also emphasizes the theme of inclusion and universality in the Christian faith. Philip's legacy is a reminder of the importance of faith, obedience, and the willingness to reach out to others, regardless of their background, in spreading the message of Jesus. Bartholomew, also known as Nathanael. Bartholomew, also recognized as Nathanael in the Gospel of John, is an apostle whose character is marked by an initial skepticism, followed by a profound declaration of faith. When he first hears about Jesus from Philip, his skeptical response, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" reflects a common prejudice of the time. However, his skepticism quickly turns to belief when Jesus greets him with insight into his character, saying, "Here truly is an Israelite in whom there is no deceit." This encounter highlights Nathanael's capacity for honesty and straightforwardness, qualities that Jesus immediately recognizes and praises. His confession, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God, you are the King of Israel," following Jesus' revelation, showcases his deep spiritual insight and readiness to embrace Jesus' identity and mission. Traditionally, Bartholomew is believed to have carried out missionary work in several countries, including India, Armenia, Ethiopia, and southern Arabia. Tales of his martyrdom suggest he was flayed alive, a testament to his steadfast faith and commitment to spreading the gospel, regardless of the severe consequences he faced. Nathanael Bartholomew's story is a powerful testament to the transformative impact of a personal encounter with Jesus, and it encourages openness to divine truth, even when it challenges our initial perceptions or biases. Matthew, Levi. Matthew, also known as Levi, was a tax collector before he was called by Jesus to be one of his apostles. His previous occupation made him a somewhat controversial choice, as tax collectors were generally despised in Jewish society for their role in collecting taxes for the Roman occupers and their frequent dishonesty. However, Matthew's call to discipleship is a powerful example of Jesus' inclusive approach, inviting even those marginalized or scorned by society. The Gospel of Matthew, traditionally attributed to him, begins with a detailed genealogy of Jesus, emphasizing his messianic credentials and his fulfillment of Old Testament prophecies. This suggests that one of Matthew's primary concerns was to present Jesus as the long-awaited Jewish Messiah, making a compelling case to his primarily Jewish audience. Matthew's Gospel is particularly noted for the Sermon on the Mount, an extensive collection of Jesus' teachings that outline the ethical core of Christian discipleship. It also includes distinctive parables not found in the other Gospels, such as the parable of the workers in the vineyard, which highlight themes of grace and divine generosity. Matthew's transformation from a tax collector to a devoted follower of Christ and a writer of a gospel demonstrates the profound changes that can occur when individuals respond to Jesus' call. His life encourages believers to witness and minister within their own communities, regardless of past affiliations or societal standings.